Picture this. A lanky Texan walks into an audition room and creates a character so unique, so brilliantly bizarre, that television would never be the same again. That's exactly what happened when Jim Parsons brought Sheldon Cooper to life. For 12 seasons, we invited this quirky genius into our living rooms, laughing as he struggled with social cues and cheering when he finally opened his heart. But behind those catchphrases and comic book t-shirts was an actor of extraordinary talent. One who would capture not one, not two, but 4 Emmy Awards for his portrayal. Bazinga! Indeed. But what happens when the theoretical physicist hangs up his whiteboard marker? For Jim, the end of the Big Bang Theory was merely the beginning of an even more fascinating chapter. While we were watching him navigate the complex theories of the universe, he was quietly plotting his next moves. Broadway called, and Jim answered, transforming from sitcom star to stage sensation overnight. In 2024, audiences gasped as he commanded the stage in Mother Play and Our Town, proving that his talent extends far beyond the confines of a studio set. Meanwhile, his voice continues to narrate the adventures of young Sheldon, a touching reminder that some characters are simply too extraordinary to ever truly say goodbye to. Behind the scenes, Jim found his own real-life relationship equation that actually worked, marrying his partner Todd Spewak after 14 years together. Their love story, more enduring than any of Sheldon's scientific theories, reminds us that, sometimes, the most brilliant minds simply need to find that one person who understands their quirks and loves them anyway. The apartment stairs were steep, but Leonard Hofstadter's journey to win Penny's heart was an even steeper climb. Behind those thick glasses and self-deprecating humor was Johnny Galecki, an actor who turned what could have been a forgettable, nerd stereotype into the emotional anchor of television's biggest comedy. While Sheldon might have stolen the spotlight with his eccentricities, it was Leonard's quiet determination and heart that gave the show its soul. Remember that moment when he finally married Penny? Millions held their breath as years of will they, won't they tension finally resolved in television history. But Leonard's story was just one chapter in Johnny's remarkable career journey. Before he was calculating physics equations, he was making us laugh as David Healy on Roseanne, and in a twist that delighted fans everywhere, he returned to where it all began in 2018, stepping back into David's shoes as if no time had passed at all while juggling film roles alongside Hollywood heavyweights like Will Smith and Justin Timberlake. Talk about range. What makes Johnny's story truly compelling, though, is how his personal life mirrored Leonard's growth in unexpected ways. Dating co-star Kaley Cuoco in secret, yes, really. Navigating Hollywood relationships, and finally finding his true happiness. Today, Johnny's proudest experiment isn't in any laboratory. It's being father to his daughter Una Evelina with wife Morgan, and son Avery from a previous relationship. The once awkward physicist who could barely talk to the pretty girl across the hall has transformed into a confident family man, whose greatest discovery was that sometimes, the most beautiful equations are the ones that can't be written on any whiteboard. Oh, that's where I've seen the blonde from apartment 4B before. That was the reaction of many viewers when The Big Bang Theory first aired, recognizing Kaley Cuoco from her previous roles. But nobody could have predicted how this former teen actress would transform a seemingly simple girl-next-door character into a cultural phenomenon. When we first met Penny, she was just the pretty waitress with big dreams. By the finale, she had evolved into a successful pharmaceutical rep, devoted wife, and the emotional compass that guided our beloved nerds through life's complexities. Watching Penny grow was like watching a star being born right before our eyes. While the cameras were rolling on set, Kaley was silently building an empire behind the scenes. In a power move that would make even Penny proud, she launched her own production company, cheekily named Yes Norman Productions after her beloved dog. Talk about turning passion into power. When most actors were still focusing solely on their next role, Kaley was already thinking about creating opportunities, not just for herself, but for other women in the industry. The end of The Big Bang Theory wasn't a final bow for Kaley. It was merely an intermission. She exploded back onto our screens as the voice of an iconic DC villain in the animated Harley Quinn series, then absolutely stunned critics with her performance in The Flight Attendant, a role so different from Penny that many didn't even recognize the actress they thought they knew. Now she's juggling motherhood after welcoming daughter Matilda with partner Tom Pelphrey, proving that like her character Penny, she can handle anything life throws her way. From the Cheesecake Factory to Hollywood powerhouse, now that's what you call a quantum leap. Howard Wolowitz entered our screens in a blaze of tight pants, outrageous belt buckles, and pickup lines so bad they were almost good. But who would have thought that the sleazy engineer with the bowl cut would undergo one of television's most beautiful transformations? Simon Helberg took what could have been a one-note character and turned Howard's journey, from mama's boy to astronaut to loving husband and father, into one of the show's most touching evolutions. Remember that moment when Howard read the letter from his absent father? Not a dry eye in America that night. But while Howard was building rockets for NASA, Simon was quietly building an impressive career beyond the confines of Apartment 4A. In a twist that surprised even dedicated fans, this sitcom star found himself sharing scenes with the legendary Meryl Streep in Florence Foster Jenkins and collaborating with the Coen brothers in A Serious Man. Think about that. The same actor who once delivered lines about moist towelettes was now working with Oscar-winning directors and actresses. Hollywood doesn't usually work that way, but Simon Helberg isn't your usual actor. What makes Simon's story particularly heartwarming is how his personal life has mirrored Howard's growth in the best possible ways. While Howard found his perfect match in the tiny but mighty Bernadette, Simon found his in actress Jocelyn Town. Together since 2007, they've built a beautiful family with children Adeline and Wilder. From the actor who portrayed a character desperately seeking love to becoming a devoted family man. It's almost like Howard's journey prepared Simon for his own happy ending. Where Howard once looked to the stars as an astronaut, Simon now reaches for them as an actor whose talent knows no bounds. Hello? Can you hear me now? That famous first line delivered by a mute-around woman Rauch Kuthrapalli captured hearts instantly. But behind that selective mutism was Kunal Nayyar, crafting a character who would evolve from a painfully shy astrophysicist into a man confident enough to speak his truth. No alcohol required. Who could forget that magical moment when Rauch finally spoke to Penny without liquid courage? We all cheered as if our own friend had overcome his greatest fear. That's the power Kunal brought to this character, making us invest completely in Rauch's journey to find his voice, both literally and figuratively. While Rauch was scanning the skies for alien life, Kunal was expanding his universe far beyond the walls of Caltech. In a brilliant career move, he literally found his voice in animation, bringing characters to life in the Ice Age and Trolls franchises. But perhaps his most authentic expression came through his memoir, Yes, My Accent is Real. In those pages, Kunal told his own extraordinary story, from growing up in New Delhi to becoming one of television's most beloved stars. Unlike many celebrity books that merely skim the surface, Kunal's writing revealed the same depth and humor that made Rauch so endearing. When The Big Bang Theory's final credits rolled, many wondered if Kunal would struggle to escape Rauch's shadow. Instead, he boldly stepped into challenging new territories, from intense dramas like Criminal UK to starring alongside Uma Thurman in Suspicion. While Rauch's love life was perpetually complicated, Kunal's personal story has been a beautiful contrast. Happily married to former Miss India Neha Kapoor since 2011. From the boy who couldn't speak to women to the man confidently taking on Hollywood's most diverse roles, Kunal's journey proves that sometimes the most interesting cosmic explorations happen right here on Earth. When that high-pitched hello first echoed through the Cheesecake Factory, nobody, not even the producers themselves, could have predicted the phenomenon that Bernadette Rostenkowski would become. Melissa Rauch walked onto The Big Bang, theory set for what was supposed to be a brief guest appearance. 5 minutes of screen time later, audiences were completely smitten with the tiny microbiologist with the squeaky voice and secretly terrifying personality. What started as a one-off character transformed into half of one of television's most beloved couples. Remember when Bernie and Howard performed their wedding vows in space? Pure television magic. The brilliance of Melissa's performance was how she made Bernadette both intimidating and vulnerable. A woman who could reduce grown men to tears at work, then come home and sing soft rock songs to her children. But while Bernadette was climbing the corporate ladder at a pharmaceutical company, Melissa was quietly building an impressive career beyond the hit sitcom. In a power move that surprised Hollywood, she co-wrote, co-produced, and starred in The Bronze, showcasing a range that left critics stunned. This wasn't just Bernadette with different hair. This was Melissa Rauch announcing herself as a creative force to be reckoned with. Today, Melissa has stepped into the leading role on Night Court, proving that lightning can indeed strike twice in television. The series even featured a mini Big Bang reunion when Kunal Nayyar guest starred, giving fans the crossover they didn't know they needed. Off-screen, Melissa's life mirrors Bernadette's in the most heartwarming ways. She's building her own beautiful family with husband Winston Beigel, balancing motherhood and career with the same determination that made Bernadette such an inspiration. From unexpected guest star to indispensable fan favorite, Melissa Rauch's journey proves that sometimes the smallest characters can make the biggest impact. Would you like to engage in coitus? With that unforgettable proposition to Sheldon Cooper, Amy Farrah Fowler cemented her place in television history. But the woman behind the neuroscientist with the sensible shoes brought something truly extraordinary to the role: authentic scientific credentials. When Mayim Bialik stepped onto the Big Bang Theory set, she wasn't just playing a brilliant scientist. She was one, having earned her PhD in neuroscience from UCLA. That blend of acting talent and academic achievement created a character of unparalleled authenticity. Remember Amy and Sheldon's Nobel Prize acceptance speech? The emotion felt real, because in many ways, it was. While Amy was slowly breaking down Sheldon's emotional walls on screen, Mayim was quietly building a remarkable career renaissance behind the scenes. Once known primarily as the star of Blossom in the 90s, she engineered a comeback that defied Hollywood odds, writing scientifically informed books on parenting, launching a thoughtful website called Grok Nation, and eventually directing her own feature film, As They Made Us. Mayim proved that, like Amy, her brilliance extended far beyond what most people initially recognized. Her podcast, Mayim Bialik's Breakdown, combines her scientific knowledge with candid discussions about mental health, creating a platform where entertainment and education blend seamlessly. Through personal challenges, including raising 2 sons, after her divorce from Michael Stone, Mayim has modeled the same resilience that made Amy such an inspiring character. Her relationship with podcast partner Jonathan Cohen reflects the growth we witnessed in Amy, learning that intelligence and emotion aren't opposing forces but complementary strengths. From child star to neuroscientist to respected director and mental health advocate, Mayim Bialik's journey reminds us that the best minds never stop evolving, never stop questioning, and never stop reinventing themselves. Has it really been 2 years since someone bought something? That pitiful question from Stuart Bloom captured the essence of the Big Bang Theory's most lovable underdog. When Kevin Sussman first appeared as the perpetually struggling comic bookstore owner, nobody, perhaps not even Kevin himself, could have predicted how this sad sack character would worm his way into our hearts. What began as occasional appearances evolved into a central role, with Stuart's misfortunes becoming some of the show's most reliably hilarious moments. Remember when he moved in with Howard and Bernadette, becoming an accidental third wheel in their marriage? Comedy gold that showcased Kevin's impeccable timing. But while Stuart's life was defined by a seemingly endless string of disappointments, Kevin Sussman's post-Big Bang career has been anything but. In one of Hollywood's most impressive pivots, he transformed from playing the group's perpetually down-on-his-luck friend to landing roles in some of television's most prestigious productions. His appearances in Better Call Saul and The Dropout revealed dramatic depths that Stuart's anxious demeanor only hinted at. In an industry notorious for typecasting, Kevin didn't just escape the shadow of his most famous role, he shattered expectations entirely. What makes Kevin's journey particularly inspiring is how he's managed to maintain the same authentic, grounded presence that made Stuart so endearing, while consistently elevating his craft with each new project. When he reunited with Mayim Bialik on Call Me Kat, fans were treated to a glimpse of that Big Bang magic, but in an entirely new context. From comic book store owner to dramatic powerhouse, Kevin Sussman has written a career story far more successful than poor Stuart could have ever dreamed of. Perhaps the most poetic twist? The actor who portrayed the show's perennial failure has become one of its most versatile successes. Sheldon, you're in my spot. With that perfectly timed jab, Leslie Winkle established herself as the scientific nemesis Sheldon Cooper never knew he needed. Sarah Gilbert brought an electric energy to the experimental physicist who dared to challenge Sheldon's intellectual supremacy and briefly captured Leonard's heart. Though her appearances were limited compared to the main cast, each scene with Leslie left a crater-sized impact. Remember when she referred to string theory as not even worth discussing? The look on Sheldon's face was worth 1,000 physicist jokes. What many casual viewers didn't realize was the rich history Sarah Gilbert brought to her Big Bang role. Her chemistry with Johnny Galecki wasn't manufactured. It was built on years of working together as Darlene and David on Roseanne. That established rapport allowed their characters' relationship to feel instantly genuine, giving Leslie Winkle a depth that few recurring characters ever achieve. But while Leslie was challenging scientific theories, Sarah was quietly revolutionizing daytime television by co-creating The Talk, transforming the talk show format into something more authentic and conversation-driven. In perhaps her most courageous career move, Sarah returned to where it all began, reprising her role as the sardonic Darlene Connor on The Connors, navigating the complex revival with the same intelligence and integrity that defined Leslie Winkle. Through public personal challenges, including her divorce from musician Linda Perry, Sarah has demonstrated the same strength and resilience that made her characters so compelling. From teenage sarcasm to scientific rivalry to media entrepreneur, Sarah Gilbert's evolution reminds us that the most interesting people, like the most interesting particles, can exist in multiple states at once, constantly transforming while remaining fundamentally themselves. I love the smell of cadavers in the morning. With that unexpectedly dark confession, Dr. Emily Sweeney carved out her unique place in the Big Bang Theory universe. When Laura Spencer first appeared as Raj's dermatologist girlfriend with a penchant for the macabre, viewers were instantly intrigued. Here was something completely fresh, a successful medical professional whose sweet exterior masked a delightfully twisted interior. Remember when she revealed her fascination with watching autopsies while eating? That perfect blend of disturbing and endearing could only have been pulled off by an actress with extraordinary range. What made Laura's performance particularly impressive was how she managed to develop Emily's character, while simultaneously appearing in another hit show. While dating Rauch on Big Bang, she was also playing an entirely different character on Bones, switching between comedy and drama with a seamlessness that most actors can only dream of. Each time Emily appeared, Laura brought new layers to this woman who somehow made perfect sense with our sensitive, romantic Rauch, proving that sometimes opposites don't just attract, they complement each other in the most unexpected ways. Though her time on The Big Bang Theory was shorter than the main cast, Laura's impact continues to reverberate through her carefully chosen subsequent roles. Her appearances in projects like 13 Minutes and the critically acclaimed Reservation Dogs showcase an actress more interested in meaningful storytelling than mere screen time. In an industry that often pushes actors toward maximizing visibility at any cost, Laura has charted a more deliberate path, selecting roles that challenge and inspire her. From the dermatologist with the dark side to a diverse array of complex characters, Laura Spencer's journey reminds us that sometimes quality truly does triumph over quantity, and that the most interesting people, like Emily Sweeney herself, keep their best secrets just below the surface.